And how have you engaged with the media?
I've had some involvement with radio, television and film. Radio is a lovely medium, really, because one doesn't have to, look brilliant. So we've been along to a number of radio studios. Probably the last one was a year ago at Christmas. For Radio Surrey.
Okay.
4 years ago, we were on Radio 2 on the Chris Evans show, which was rather nice. That was a bit of a laugh. He was great, actually. He played the handbells really well. So that was good. We've also played Hospital Radio Way, so hospital radios and local radio stations. Television we have done less recently. Alan Collins was probably one of the first musical directors who was keen to get handbells onto television. So in those days, St Lawrence Chobham were on the Bruce Forsyth Generation Game. We were on the Michael Barrymore show. We have latterly done, 12 years ago, probably did the Paul O'Grady show. Alan was very keen to do things that showed handbell ringing in a positive light and not as some sort of quirky pastime. And so we did receive invitations to do comedy shows or things that made it look a bit quirky. Those were politely declined. Film, we were involved with the film The Manners of King George, because there is some record that King George III was entertained by handbell ringers a number of times when he was monarch. And Nigel Hawthorne was playing King George, and Helen Mirren was playing Queen Charlotte, his wife, and they were both absolutely delightful. And we six of us were invited to go. My daughter was so jealous. My son was able to come, but we all had to be male. They didn't allow women to play handbells in those days, so all of the handbell ringers had to be male. So Sam, my daughter, was very jealous, but she came with us, but she wasn't able to ring, and we found our way to Wilson Houses near Salisbury, which is where they were doing the filming. God, this was back 20 years ago now, I suppose, and we were there all night. And finally, they recorded us playing Greensleeves, a very boring version of Greensleeves, which Sandra Winter, bless her, had written specially for us, a very boring version of Greensleeves. We deliberately asked her for that. And it was recorded at about 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, good grief.
We'd been up all night waiting. We were told about 11 o'clock, get ready because we'll want you. And apparently that's what happens in film. You get ready and then you have to wait for hours and hours before you're wanted. But anyway, that was quite exciting.
That leads on to the next question, because you're talking about men being involved in the show. Why do you think there are more women than men ringing today?
It's a really good question. And if you were at the AGM, I alluded in a joking fashion deliberately to that by remarking that, of course, we haven't yet had any women chairs of HRGB, which is one of the reasons why I don't like the word chairman. The answer is I don't know. Men are equally rhythmical, men are equally musical, and there are equal numbers of men and women in a wide range of musical genres. I genuinely don't know.
I mean, perhaps it's a social aspect. Perhaps women find it easier to go to the WI and then link in with handbells, for example. It's
entirely possible.
Or U3A and learn about it that way.
I think from knowing American handbell groups and Japanese handbell groups, the Japanese handbell groups were mostly, as you may know, initiated 50-60 years ago by American missionaries. But I think there is a more equality in American groups, and most American groups are associated with churches.
Yes.
Whether that's significant, I don't know. I'm just reporting that as a fact.
What do you think HRGB can do to attract new members?
Well, it's a really interesting question, Amanda. I have this fond idea that monetary incentives help. And so what strikes me about our membership numbers is that there has been a gentle decline, not a huge decline, but a gentle decline, but nevertheless a decline over many years. And it was only halted and reversed on the 1 year last year when there was a financial incentive for finding new members, for drawing new members into into HRGB. Now, interestingly, at the AGM yesterday, a number of people felt that that suggestion was incorrect. I have grounds for suggesting that, in fact, that assertion is correct, because the data shows that on the 1 year when there was a financial incentive, we increased our numbers. So part of me thinks it's about that. Part of me thinks it's about making sure that handbell ringing becomes a more established part of British society and more people know about handbells. One of the things they're looking at is how do we help handbell ringing to become a more established part of British society. One of the things, the ways of doing that, is to have handbells more established in schools. And as you know, we've had for the last 4 years the Bells into Schools project.
And you've done a lot of work on that yourself.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I initiated it and I started it off. We've got an exciting possibility of handbells going to a university quite soon. And again, if students at that university in a few years' time have enjoyed using handbells and go out and teach, as some of them might, then again we might have an opportunity to get more bells into more schools. So I think that's one way of doing it. I think another way of doing it is to make sure that HRGB membership is seen as being a really attractive and exciting deal by members, and very much value for money. Now, in my view, at £12, it is extremely good value for money, and we need to do more to persuade other members that it is, and for them to welcome more members into their team.
Where do you see handbell ringing in the future?
One of the things when we were looking at the development group for the next 50 years, we asked ourselves at the National Executive Committee, what would we like to see? What is our vision for handbell ringers of Great Britain in 50 years' time, or for handbells nationally in 50 years' time? And people were saying things like, well, maybe the role of handbell teacher would be equally respected to the role of piano teacher, for example. If you say you're a piano teacher, most people say, oh, that's that's a respectable career. It's a very skillful thing to do. If you say these days that's now, and has been for probably several hundred years. If you say you're a handbell teacher, people would go, what? So, maybe in 50 years' time, we'll have more people being handbell teachers. We'll have handbell teaching being a respected role in the community. I'm not saying that will happen. You were just saying to me, where do I see it in 50 years' time? I think the more we can get handbells and handbell ringers involved in a wider range of musical genres, so that more people are enjoying them and enjoy this wonderful sound, then we are more likely to be in a stronger situation. So, I mean, I still see, in 20, 30 years' time, I still see handbell ringing as a fairly small music. There won't be massive numbers of people, but I would hope that in 20 or 30 years' time it will be continuing to grow in terms of the numbers of people who are involved and the ranges of music that are involved.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tim.
You're welcome. 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.